The rain tasted like rust on my tongue as the cab pulled away from warehouse number 7. Demarco was gone, vanished into the city's grey moor after spilling more than he wanted to, but not nearly enough. He's a twitchy thing, Demarco, and easily broken, but the truth he held back that was locked behind a vault of fear. The collector was quiet during the interrogation, a predatory stillness that made my ribs ache with each shallow breath. He's playing a game, and I'm a pawn he seems determined to sacrifice. The hieroglyphic locket felt heavy in my pocket, its cold metal a constant reminder of Lila Monroe's knowing smile. Marguerite Dubois, she called herself in Marseille. A new name, a new life, a clean slate. Or so she thinks. Marseille. The name conjured images of sun-drenched docks, the scent of brine and citrus, and a darkness that clung to the shadows like a shroud. It was a long haul, but I needed to see this Marguerite Dubois to understand her connection to Arthur Monroe and the contents of that damn briefcase. The ship was a freighter, the St. Christopher smelling of diesel and desperation. Third class as a sardine can filled with immigrants and broken dreams. I found a corner and stared out at the churning weight, trying to piece together the fragments of the puzzle. Arthur Monroe had been a man of routine. Textile magnate, club meetings, on to his wife, then silence. No note, no goodbye, just an empty chair and a missing briefcase. Lila Monroe, his grieving widow, presented the locket, a peculiar gift considering their detachment. A key, perhaps, or a taunt. My investigation led me to Demarco, a low-level fixer with connections to the city's criminal underbelly. He's been skimming profits from Monroe's shipping routes, a pathetic attempt to avoid the collector's attention. It was Demarco who revealed Lila Monroe's alias and her current location in Marseille. The rain lashed against the porthole as the St. Christopher up in Marseille. The port was a chaotic tapestry of languages and smells, a labyrinth of warehouses and shadows. I found a room at a cheap hotel near the docks, a haven of threadbare carpets and flickering light. My contact, a former dockworker named Jean-Pierre, was waiting for me. He's a cautious man, wary of the city's currents. He led me through a maze of narrow streets, the air thick with the scent of jasmine and decay. Marguerite Dubois, he whispered, his eyes darting nervously. She keeps to herself. Lives in a small apartment near the old market. The apartment was nondescript, the paint peeling, the window overlooking a dusty courtyard. I watched her for hours, observing her movements, searching for a crack in her composure. She was elegant, even in her solitude, her movements precise, her expression unreadable. I slipped past the security guard, a bored teenager more interested in his cigarettes than his duty, and entered the apartment. The interior was sparsely furnished, the decor reflecting a life of quiet desperation. A photograph of Arthur Monroe sat on the mantelpiece, his face frozen in a moment of nervous joy. "Looking for something, monsieur?" Lila Monroe stood in the doorway, a predator's smile playing on her lips. "I was expecting you. You knew I was coming. Arthur warned me." "Warned you? Arthur's missing, madam. He's handling some business. Delicate matters." Her voice was a low murmur, laced with a hint of amusement. "And what business is that?" She gestured towards a small table, where a single object sat bathed in the soft glow of a lamp. It was the briefcase. "Arthur entrusted me with this. He said it contained important documents." I approached the briefcase, my hand hovering over the latch. "And what's inside?" "That's for you to find out, monsieur." I opened the briefcase. Inside wasn't paper nor jewels, but a collection of meticulously crafted miniature ships, each one a perfect replica of a vessel that had disappeared at sea over the past decade. Each ship had a small, almost invisible tag attached to its hull. I recognized a few: the asterisk Ocean Serpent asterisk, the asterisk Crimson Tide asterisk, the asterisk Southern Star asterisk, all gone without a trace. "What is the meaning of this?" I demanded, my voice rising. Lila Monroe's smile widened. Arthur had a hobby, a private collection. He enjoyed recreating lost vessels. I examined one of the tags more closely. Scrawled across it in tiny script was a single name of the collector. The realization hit me like a physical blow. The ships were just replicas. They were a ledger, a record of the collector's activities. He wasn't just a wealthy benefactor, he was a maritime criminal, orchestrating the disappearances of ships for profit. And Arthur Monroe was his silent partner. "Arthur and I have a long-standing relationship, monsieur," Lila Monroe said, her voice dripping with venom. "He's a brilliant man, with a unique understanding of the tides. A shame he's so easily manipulated." I turned to leave, suddenly feeling a presence behind me. The collector stood in the doorway, a predatory gleam in his eyes. "You've been asking too many questions, Harvey," he said, his voice a low growl. "You used Harza, didn't you? To move your cargo, to disappear ships at sea." He chuckled, a dry, humorless sound. Arthur was a valuable asset. He believed he was in control, but he was merely a pawn in a larger game. "And Lila?" What's her role in this? Marguerite is resourceful. She understands the importance of discretion. She's also quite fond of Arthur's generosity. He took a step towards me, his hand reaching into his pocket. It's time for you to leave Marseille, Harding, for your own safety. Suddenly, a crash from the next room startled us both. A shadowy figure emerged, wielding a heavy wrench. It was Jean-Pierre, my contact. A brief, brutal fight ensued. Jean-Pierre managed to disarm the collector, but not before he was struck a glancing blow to the head. He collapsed to the floor, unconscious. Lila Monroe watched with detached amusement, her predator's smile never faltering. The collector, recovering quickly, pulled out a pistol. He pointed it at me. "This is goodbye, Harding," he said, his voice devoid of emotion. Just as he squeezed the trigger, a voice rang out from the doorway. "Not so fast." A young woman stepped into the room, her face obscured by shadows. She held the revolver trained on the collector. It was Demarco's daughter, Isabella. "He's responsible for my father's disappearance," she cried. A shock rang out. The collector staggered back, clutching his chest. He collapsed to the floor, the revolver falling from his grasp. Isabella rushed to my side. "My father, he knew about the collector. He tried to warn people, but no one listened." I looked at the faces around me, Isabella's grief, Lila Monroe's detached amusement, the unconscious form of Jean-Pierre. The truth was a tangled web of betrayal and deceit, and I was caught in the center of it. "Who is pulling the strings?" I asked, my voice hoarse. "Who is really behind all of this?" Lila Monroe stepped forward, her voice a low whisper. "That, monsieur, is a story for another time." She turned and walked away, disappearing into the shadows. I knew then that this was far from over. The collector was dead, but his empire remained. And I was now a marked man, hunted by forces I barely understood. I had a feeling this investigation would take me far beyond the docks of Marseille, into a darkness deeper than I could ever have imagined. As I watched her go, I felt a sudden, chilling certainty. Lila Monroe wasn't just a grieving widow. She was the puppet master, the architect of this elaborate scheme. And she was waiting for me, somewhere in the shadows, ready to play her next move. Isabella turned to me. "My father, he left something for you." She handed me a small, worn envelope. He said it was important. I opened the envelope. Inside was a single photograph. It was a picture of Lila Monroe, taken years ago. On the back of the photograph, scrawled in faded ink, was a single name, Anastasia Volkov, and below it, by location signed, Petersburg,